there's a kind of fluidity that's involved, and there's a kind of an absoluteness that is holding that fluidity in by virtue of all of the straight lines. So there's eight elements that are very straight in this thing. Yet there's a connection between them. So beginning with the top, incidentally, whenever we see something that's rather confusing, or whenever we see something that's not a landscape, we tend, I found, to enter the image via the top left, because that's the way that we begin reading a book. If it's a landscape, we tend to walk into it in a way that we would if it was a landscape. And if it's a figure, we tend to confront the figure and walk up to that figure. So all of those things are really, very much related to our own experiential life, the way that we explore everything. All right, so if you enter in here, up on top, there's a kind of an orb that contains organic matter. And that organic matter is alive, it's complex, it's pulsating, it's messy, it's growing, it's moving, and it is the physical. And the physicality that is contained thereof begins to transfer to other places. And in this case, it transfers onto this pod. And this pod contains every number, every letter of the alphabet, an entire chess set, and a checker set in case you don't know how to play chess. But if you actually look, you'll see that it does contain every word and every number and these little games that we play. And actually, the physical begins to become this world about here, where there's a connection between both this, like you see this L that's being covered up by the, so one becomes the other. So this is the intellectual. Language, mathematics, games that we play, sequential thinking, the intellect. So here you have this combination with the physical and the intellect. And then the next thing, as it continues to travel, it goes into this larger orb, which I wanted to symbolize the metaphysical. Now the word metaphysical is an interesting word because it can be, to a certain degree, a negative word. In the 19th century, metaphysics were considered not anywhere near as friendly as we might consider them in the 21st century. Metaphysics as embraced and explored by people like George de Chirico and the surrealists, Ernst and Max Ernst and Victor Brauner and Dali and Magritte and that whole crew, Duchamp, some of Picasso, was meant the other side of reality. In other words, not just the kind of physical, everyday reality that we perceive, that we touch, that we feel, that we see, that our senses are plugged into in our everyday dimensional life, but also the world of fantasy, the world of dream, that is limitless, that doesn't have the laws of gravity, that doesn't have sequential time, where everything is possible. So that kind of world, the surrealist world, is something that began to come of age around the turn of the 20th century, a little bit thereafter, pretty much simultaneously with psychoanalysis. As a matter of fact, lots of the surrealists were in touch with people like Lucian Freud. Excuse me, not Lucian Freud, his old man, his grandfather, what's his name? Sigmund Freud and Jung and that whole crew. So artists began to explore possibilities that are limitless, the metaphysical. So inside of this world, what I did is that I took a lot of my parents, meaning people that I studied, that I learned from, that I was influenced by artistically, and took some of their images. Like for instance, this is Achille Gorky, and this is from one of Magritte's paintings, and this is from one of Dali's paintings. And here you have a Max Ernst that has been, excuse me, a Man Ray that has been changed so that it can fit inside that tube. You have some more Magritte, you have Matta, you have Giacometti, on and on. So you have all these and also some of my own work. There's the fur-covered cup. So world of dream, world of fantasy, Here's a Dechirico. And this is the only one of the pods where the tube, after going through a whole trip, falls into itself again. Okay? But there also is a transfer from one to the next as well. Finally, you have hidden behind pretty much the whole thing this orb, which is completely yellow, which you can follow through, and that's the spiritual. And that spiritual contains these little fishies, like little sperms of light, which emanate from it, and which continue in every negative space in the painting. So they permeate the actual background of everything that you saw, okay, the spiritual. And there is no lesson to be learned other than its existence in light and its possibility that may or may not touch everything.